Hey, how's it going? This is Kane Frost, and today's discussion is going to be buying women drinks for the first time meeting them at the bar or clubs. All right, so let's get into it. So you're out and you're having a good time. You see some ladies or a woman that you like, and you want to go talk to them. Uh, the first thing you shouldn't do is buy them a drink to open up the conversation. And the crazy thing is, I see a lot of, actually, I know friends that do this on a consistent basis, and I mean, it's not good. In the old days, I mean, I'm talking, the guys that I know that talk to, they're like 60, 70 plus. They were always would tell me like, oh yeah, well, it's you need to spend a little money on them to get a little attention. No. Maybe that was at one time. You had to do that. Maybe when men were out making more money than women and all that stuff. But today, I mean, women probably make more. Sometimes, in some cases, make more money than men, or equal. But not all. They're not way below. So, those times have changed, and it's crazy. I mean, I've it's funny because I'll give you some stories on the things that I've experienced. But I was hanging out one time, an older gentleman that I knew. He was dating this younger girl, and I remember I was at this table, and this really young chick came up to me. Well, she was sitting across from me, her and her friend, and I could tell she's right there, and there's a whole club full of people that she wanted me to say something to her because she kept looking at me. And I was just like, hey, how's it going? And I had just gotten a shot. And I reached over and I was like, I was going to cheers her. And as a cheers, she was looking at me. She says, oh, well, mine's empty. And this is my first interaction with her. I was just like right there. My friend's like, hey, what's up? Cheers or something. And I forgot what it was, but I just reached over, hey, cheers. And like I said, she said, oh, well, mine's empty. And I was like, oh. And I knew what she wanted, can you get me something? And I looked at her and I was like, yeah, well, I guess you better refill it, And then I was like, cheers. I cheers her empty glass. And I took a shot. And then I told my older friend that, the male friend, that he was like, well, yeah, sometimes you got to spend a little money to get their attention. I'm like, I didn't say nothing, but I was like, no, you don't. She was kind of hanging around, maybe hoping I could buy her some drinks. And after I did that, she got up and left. And I was like, I ain't playing. I don't even know this chick. Why the hell am I going to throw some money at her? Like that. And sometimes, I'll be out with a group of friends, and they'll see, they'll see some ladies, a lady, couple, or two or three sitting, well, actually just having a good time. Either that, or maybe just even sitting around. But they'll be like, hey man, send a few drinks over there, and say it's from us. Hey, I ain't spending it, so I don't care what they do. But I'm like, just shaking my head, like, man, come on, why are you just giving these girls drinks? You know what I'm saying? And they'll go over there, and most of the time, I'd say, 80% of the time, those girls will appreciate the drinks and not even care to even carry a conversation. I mean, who is not? If they're out having some drinks of their own, who's gonna turn down free drinks straight from the bar? That's just crazy. You're not showing them. You didn't come up and approach them. They don't know anything about you. You're not trying to get their number. You're not trying to offer. You're trying to take them back home or anything. So they're going to take a free drink for nothing. And here's the thing. In that situation, I remember I had walked away, and I had got into talking to some girl. And I came back like 15 or 20 minutes later. And I remember I asked those guys, because they were up. They weren't from the same table no more. They were like closer to the girls where they bought the drinks. And the girls were like dancing and stuff like that. 'Cause they were, of course, getting feeling a bit woozy, I guess, because they've been having extra drinks. And so I asked one of the guys, I was like, so what's up? How far did you guys go? What's going on? And then one of my friends was like, they're just being bitches and stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah. you know, because I know that, they probably went up there and were trying to say something and the girls just ignored them. But they were happy to take the free drinks, so yeah, I don't ever do that. The only time I ever buy somebody a drink is when I am like if I'm pretty drunk myself, and I'm like, I feel like I shouldn't take another drink. I'm drunk. I shouldn't take another drink by myself because it's like it feels like you're at a public place and you're taking a drink by yourself. It almost feels like you're at home drinking by yourself. No, and actually right here, look, check this out. And I got a white Russian right here while I'm making these too. Oh yeah, it almost feels like you're at home drinking, by yourself. And so sometimes when I'm out, and I'm drunk, I don't want, and I'm like, hey, I'm out, man. I'm having a good time. So if somebody, let's say I've been talking to, let's say I just met a girl that night, and she's close by the bar, and I'm ordering a drink. I don't want to just take a. I would, but if there's somebody that I kind of just met, and I'm like, hey, man, take a shot with me real fast. I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm just doing it because I'm buying that person a drink because it's to me I'm social, and I'm out, and I just kind of want to have, somebody to cheers with and take a shot. To me, a $5 shot is nothing to me. That's not, again, I've already met that person. That's not my whole strategy is to buy somebody a drink to initiate the conversation. Now, I do know people that's what they do. They'll order drinks, and then send them to the table, and then 5 minutes later they'll go over there and introduce themselves. Hey, I'm the one that sends that drink and all that stuff. Normally they're older people that do that, and the girl, every time I'll go up there later because I know that person walking by, and they'll be, hey, I'll walk up back and make sure everything's good, which I know everything's good. And he'll be like, hey, this is so-and-so. He'll introduce me to the girls. And if he leaves, the immediate response from the women are always, oh, he's such a sweet guy. He's such a nice guy, all that stuff. Yeah, I'm sure he is. He just bought you some free drinks, Yeah, I don't know. I've called girls out on that, actually from that particular guy, because he's actually bought a few drinks for a few females, and I get upset at him at times because I'm like, you need to stop doing that. Can't be just buying women drinks for your open liners, but the guy's well financially off. He can do that. And I just try to make him realize that it's not a good idea. And I've put women in their place at times when he's done that. Not like just direct, but I made comments about certain things about how women don't see, they don't. I've seen, there was a story one time about a girl that married a guy on some dating show. It was like instantly married, and they had to figure each other out, and how the woman who she just married, the guy who she just married, she didn't like him. She didn't find him sexually appealing or anything like that. And then it was like 30 minutes into that show, her friend, I don't know if because she was on the phone texting and stuff like that, her friend had texted her who that guy was, and this guy was like in UK, he was like a millionaire. And then instantly she became attracted to this guy, and she was all into the whole marriage thing. So I remember I had brought that up to one of there was a group of girls, and he had brought him drinks, and he was introducing me, and he was like, I'll be right back on stuff. And I had told him about that story. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of funny, isn't it? And I was like, this guy's, he's an older guy. He's not attracted. He buys a drink, he becomes attracted. I was hinting around that. One of the girls didn't catch on. She was just like, all happy. Like, oh my God, never saw that show before. Tell us more. Her other two friends knew where I was going with that. And they were like, they totally pulled her away. They were like, no, they're like, stop talking to this guy, They saw what I was pulling off of there. Yeah, I don't like that kind of stuff. I've been where with in a certain place. I remember one time I was at a pool home, and This was when I was younger, and I had just gotten there, and I didn't know anybody out there. I was just, it was I just moved into the neighborhood, and it was a local pub, so I went down and was checking it out on the weekend. And yeah, I met some cool people there, and I was hanging out with them and shooting some pool, and there was like 2 or 3 guys, and there was like 2 or 3 girls. And I remember I was like, hey man, I'm gonna go to the bar and get a drink. And I was talking to this one girl. I was like, hey, you want a drink? I'm about to go to the bar. And then she was like, oh yeah. And she was like, get me this, whatever drink at the time. And I was like, yeah, okay. And I went up to the bar, and I was like, yeah, I'll have a beer, and I want this drink. And the bartender was like, yeah, that's like, a $10 drink. And I was like, yeah, don't give me that drink. Just give me my beer. And so I got my beer, and like I said, I didn't know this girl. I mean, I probably talked to her for maybe about 10 minutes, just while playing pool. I didn't really know this girl. I thought she was going to get like maybe, a $5 drink or something like that. But a $10 drink, she knew what she was trying to do, just trying to see if I would actually do it and go through with it. So I came back, and I was drinking my beer and kept talking with conversation with the rest of the people. And she was like, well, where's my drink? And I was like, oh yeah, your drink is at the bar. And she just, she got all pissed off at me or whatever. Like, yeah, I ain't falling for that, man. I ain't gonna go out and buy you a drink, just because, you want this type of drink. When I'm out at bars, and I like it when they have those little. There's some, like, sometimes some bars you go to, they have these Jello shot specials, for like $2. For less than $10, you can get a whole group of people. A shot of a Jello shot, and everybody appreciates you and all that stuff. And it's $10. I mean, to me that's not a whole lot. And if there's some girls that are standing around, yeah, if there's 2 of them around and there's $4, yeah, sure, I'll buy them a couple of Jello shots. That's nothing to me. That's the lowest amount of money. But now, what I'm not going to do is, like I said, I'm not going to go off and start the conversation off by buying somebody drinks or continue to buy drinks. I'm not going to do that. There's people, there's women that I know at places that I do go to, that all they do is find guys to buy them drinks. And I know these girls. These girls are cool as hell with me. I don't buy them drinks, but they're cool as hell with me. They're really cool people. But and they don't ever ask me. I mean, because they know that I'm not gonna get them none. But they're cool. But I always see them with the drink all the time. It's crazy. And they don't ever spend nothing. And I always see, hanging out with some guy and getting a drink and all that stuff. And to me, that's cool on their part. I mean, they got a game down, and they know what they're doing. The guys don't know what they're doing, and they think they're getting, advancements and stuff, but that's on the guys. It's not my job to go up and tell them what their what they're dealing with. That's up to them. They should know better. Because these girls are cute, and there's a lot of guys that want to get at them, so they have that advantage. And I've had guys that have actually tried to get like in serious relationships with these girls, and then they've had other girls there that known those girls, that knew those guys would actually come up to them and tell them, hey, you need to, not be, tell actually the girls, like, hey, don't be messing with these guys. These guys are actually cool. That's how sometimes crazy it gets. But everything's cool. It's not like drama central up there at these places that I go to. But it's interesting, to see all that and to know where you fit in, because I hang out with a lot of new people on a weekly basis, and sometimes I go to a lot of old spots that I normally go to, and it's always the same. And the new people, it's crazy. It doesn't matter where I go. Guys, they always, I don't know why it's always in a group of guys. It's always like 4 or 5 of us, and there's always like 4 or 5 girls sitting at a table having a birthday party or something like that. And some guys always like, hey man, buy them girls a drink, and it's not just one round. It could be 2 or 3 rounds. and 5 drinks, if it's $5, that's $25. You do that 3 rounds, that's $75 easy. And at the end of it all these guys get are phone numbers, if that. They usually don't even get phone numbers on top of that. The girls will come up, during it's a little bit different now, because while making this is the CV 19, and it's a little bit different with the seating spacing and the limited amount of space at the bars and stuff like that. But these, I've had it where these guys bought drinks 3 times, and then the girls wanted to come up to the bar, but they couldn't because of the spacing. So then we went outside, right? Well, they went outside, and then because the bartender was like, "No, you can't do this up at the bar. We were at max. You got to go outside." So they went outside. The girls, so the guy that was on the 3rd round, first 2 rounds they sat at a table. The 3rd round, they were still where they came up to the bar, and then they said that, so they had to go outside. And so they were waiting on the 3rd round drinks for at least 2 or 3 minutes. And I remember I was sitting there. I didn't buy none of these. I knew the people there, but I didn't buy none of the shots. Man, I'm sitting there looking back outside because it was see-through glass, and I was like looking at them. I was like, "You're not gonna go out there and talk to these girls you've been buying drinks for? They're just standing outside." So I went outside. I'm like, "Man, screw this." I went outside, and then I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was just goofing around with them. Like, "Hey, man," I was like, they said that they couldn't get all your drinks. They had to come back, and I was messing with me, And they're like, "What?" Just kind of laughing. But anyways, I started talking to them, right? And then after about 5 minutes, because the bar, I don't know what was up there, busy or something like that, 5 minutes out there just chatting with them, figuring out whose birthday it was and where they're from, and what do they like to do, and we just getting to figure out how can we hook up later, and there's one girl that I was really interested in, and it was funny, but anyways, the guys were coming out like slowly, like 1 was coming out, 2 was coming out, and like I said, there's like 4 or 5 of us. Not the 4th and 5th guy couldn't even make it out. By the time they were coming out, the girls didn't even care about the shots no more. They're like, "We're gonna leave," because they were waiting out there for like 7 or 8 minutes. And I remember the girl that I was the girl that I was interested in. I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was just about to get her number, right? And and they were all pretty cute, so it didn't matter whose number I got. One of the girls saw that, and she stepped in. Because I was like, "Hey, so what's up? What y'all doing later?" And I was like, gonna ask. And then the girl was like, "Hey," she was like, "I want your number." And I was like, "Damn it." I was like, "Damn, I wanted to give it to this girl." But I didn't want to, just throw it on this girl and you don't know anything about her. She has a boyfriend. And then she says that, and then you can't give what I'm saying? That the whole thing it'd be kind of blown. So she's like, "Hey, man, I'll give you." I'm like, "Cool. You guys are all good looking. I don't even care." So I gave her my number and all that stuff, and we're supposed to go hang out at the lake, like the next day or something. But anyways, they left, and and once they left, the guys at the bar that are paying all these tabs would come out, and these guys were just, goofy, and game goofy, and they just came out and they're like, "Well, what happened? What's going on with those girls?" I was like, "You guys are so, wanted to buy these girls drinks." And then when you had the opportunity to come out and talk to them, you sat in the bar. They came up to the bar, they wanted to talk, and then you just sat there. And then they went outside. I didn't buy them none. I went outside talking. They got my number, So, and it was just funny. I was like, but these guys make, good money, so they didn't really care about all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's how you approach. The whole thing is about how you start out the date, or not a date, but how you start a conversation off with a girl is how pretty much things are gonna go in her eyes. So if you just come at her with no drinks, right, and you're just talking to her, and you're trying to do something, you're trying to make, what, you're throwing game on her, advances and find out what she's going on with her and her situation and leading up to possibly hooking up. That's cool because you're not throwing money out there. But to the guys that come up and just start throwing money out there, she already knows that's how the date, the relationship, everything is gonna go. You're leading with your wallet, right? So you come out there, you're basically just opening your wallet up and say, hey, this is my name, what's your name? Here's 40, 50 bucks. So that's what set me off in her mind. And trust me, women have been approached by men a lot. So they know if, with the guys that are just going to be paying for everything, and they know the guys that are not going to be paying for everything. And, that's how you want to go. If you got tons and tons of money and you don't see no problem with it, go for it. The guys that I was telling you about, the older guys, these guys are millionaires and they make a lot of money. That is no problem to them. They can throw away $200-300 a night and not even be worried about it. So I don't know about you. If you can throw away $200-300 a night or whatever, like it's nothing, then that's on you. But you need to know where you're coming from, and they're gonna see that and they're gonna expect that. And once you start that off, you can't be pulling that back, because if you think, oh well, now we're in a relationship, now we're good, and now I can dial it back. No, if you really like that girl, then that's gonna be from there on. And when you start pulling back and doing your own thing, it's game over for you. You can't. That's the way. If you start off like that, that's the way it's gonna be all the time. If it's just not drinks, let's say it's the start of it is that. I've seen guys that will take women on trips. I'm just saying, once you escalate it, right? And it's drinks and it's dinner and it's fancy dinners and blah blah blah, and you're going up this high ladder all the time. You can't go back down the ladder and keep her interest. It's already up, and that's it. When you start going back down, the girl's gonna be like, oh well, now you're just trying to be like all the other guys. I thought you're this high dollar man that I'm dealing with. So if you're faking it, you better not fake it. Because eventually it's gonna catch up to you. So yeah, that's to me that's pretty much it. Just don't, like I said, if you don't have the money to do that stuff, you don't need to. The drinks is not the main thing. It's basically you. You are enough. You should be everything. Your personality, your charisma, the way you carry yourself, the way you talk, the way you look, the way you dress, the way you're built. Everything about you, your style, that's what matters. And if a woman is not impressed with that, then she's not for you. Move on and find somebody that is, because there's always going to be somebody that likes that about you. And if you have to put all these dollars in front of you to make her see, that, then know that that's what it is. And when that stops, your relationship stops. When you try to pull back, from the fancy restaurants who just take out, then it's not going to work out. And you need to know that if you're going to be in the dating field. So, don't go blow your money. Learn game, if anything. Learn that over just, wasting your money away, because you can do this on a few women on a few dates. And, if you're not getting anything out of it, you can easily be going through, if you're just spending money every weekend, $1,000 on every month, and not getting nothing out of it. So my advice is to learn game. And then when you learn game, you don't have to spend as much, and you can actually find out if the woman likes you for you, because you're everything. They should be trying to get into your world. You shouldn't have to buy yourself, into their world. Everything is about you. And when you make it about money, that's what it's going to be. All right, so that's pretty much about it on this topic. buying women drinks at the bar. You know, that's where it starts off. That's the whole conversation. That's where, to me, that's where it starts. I mean, I'm just saying, if you're not meeting somebody on a dating site or somebody and going out, totally different story. But I'm just saying, when you're out and about by yourself or with your friends, you know, and you want to approach somebody, just learn game and approach the girls, not buying a drink. And I promise you're going to get way better results doing that. And if you don't, hey, you're not losing any money out of it. And you'll learn something every single time you do that, and learn things about yourself, and you'll learn different tactics to use to avoid paying money and all that stuff, and saying the right words. But the only way to start learning is to start trying and to start failing. And without failure, you'll never learn. All right, so this is pretty much about it. If you like the video, please give a like and subscribe to my channel. Until then, rock on. Peace.